Thank you very much to our program director. I cannot get rid of Franklin even if I try to. To the chairperson of the National Council of Provinces, the Honorable Thandi Modise, MEC Mama Bolo representing the Premier of Gauteng. MEC is present today. I was saying to MEC Klasa that no doubt he's been one of the MECs that have been very active in engaging with local government, not only in his province in the Eastern Cape, but indeed nationally. And we always appreciate your presence, MEC. And indeed all other MECs. I thought I should say that so that we also encourage other MECs to take the level of interest that MEC Klasa takes in the work that we do as local government, as an important stakeholder to the work that you do. Fellow members of the National Executive Committee of SALGA, members of the National Assembly, members of the Provincial Executive Committees, chairperson, of course, we have a host chairperson in Gauteng present today, the chairperson of Gauteng, Mayor Modise, executive mayors, speakers, councillors, city managers, members of the diplomatic corps, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. And I know this is the point at which the CEO gets a bit anxious, but I thought that it might be appropriate to comment on the matter that was raised by our program director earlier, because it is a matter that we informally have been reflecting on as we are gathered here at different levels, which is the statements that ESCOM made to Parliament yesterday. And one of the important things that was said in the statement that does not always come across is that the single biggest entity that actually owes ESCOM is in an ESCOM supply area, which suggests that in fact the challenges that we have to deal with regards to revenue collection, both in municipalities and in areas that are supplied directly by ESCOM, is a matter that requires the collective attention of all of government and all stakeholders, and that the challenges confronted in certain instances by our member municipalities are similar in nature and character to some of the challenges confronted by our colleagues in ESCOM. Excuse me. Program Director, we gather here at a very exciting time, a time when we are witnessing the energy transition both globally and nationally, a time when many countries are diversifying their energy mix and increasing renewable energy and generation capacity, a time when the cost of renewables keeps falling, and a time when we all have ambitions to transition to a sustainable energy future. With this excitement in mind, allow me to welcome you all to the first SALGA Local Government Energy Summit on the future role of local government in the energy sector. Over the next 3 days, we also have to answer some of the difficult questions as we are faced with a mammoth task to resolve and provide sustainable solutions on some of the most difficult and most stubborn challenges in the electricity and energy industry in the Republic. Some of these challenges are legacy related and cause some systemic and structural difficulties between the different role players. At the same time, the electricity and energy industry is taking a different shape and form due to technology disruptions and change in the concept of the word electricity or energy consumer. It is changing at a very fast pace, but the South African electricity and energy industry is still very much operating in a traditional form. Questions that we should be seized with over the next few days include, amongst others, what does the energy transition mean for us in South Africa? How will we meet our energy needs through the right energy mix? What do we need to do to ensure that we embrace and accelerate the transition for the benefit of all? What are the risks of the transition, and how do we turn these risks into opportunities? How can we work together to bring about a sustainable energy future for all our country? In answering these questions, we should be mindful that our energy future depends on the decisions we make now and the policies we put in place to implement those decisions. There is no single energy transition. The transition is specific to each country and involves long-term changes to meet present and future energy needs with the right energy mix. Whilst we can't predict how the transition will unfold, we know the challenges we face, including decarbonization, decentralization, and digitalization. The transition is also not simply a transition of the energy sector. The impact of the transition will transform our economy, create employment opportunities, protect our environment and climate, and improve the quality of life of our citizens. Every sector of society has a role to play, and all of us in the energy sector need to lead the transition for the benefit of all our citizens. Technology innovation is driving massive change on a huge scale throughout the energy industry. Collectively, as government, we have a responsibility to ensure that these innovations result in a reliable, cleaner, and more affordable energy system. This requires the right policies and legislative frameworks and a major shift from those regulations that constrain innovation and new solutions. In other words, the rules need to change and provide for decentralized energy with both local government and customers fulfilling a key role within the energy space as opposed to only large-scale new generation. Consumers will use the transition to not only reduce their energy bills, but also to actively participate in the energy market. As indicated by Councillor De Jager, there are technologies that allow for on-selling excess energy into the grid. How do we ensure that in a country that requires additional energy sources and the need to reduce cost, that we can on-sell excess energy into the grid? How do we ensure that we're able to save, through battery technology, some of the energy that is excess in the municipalities generated, or even in enterprises and installations that can save that energy for future use? These are issues that we need to engage with in this summit and into the future. Consumers will use the transition to not only reduce their electricity bills, or rather, this is a repetition of that point, but that we should also be generating through renewable energy, storing energy and selling energy into the grid. We cannot avoid this shift away from the centrally generated model. It is happening already with many new residential and business developments using microgrids and generating their own electricity. Whether we like it or not, electricity demand and the sales are declining, and this affects both Eskom and municipal revenues. Taken together with our climate change goals, the large-scale utility business model is unsustainable and has to be fundamentally transformed. As the saying goes, the one certainty is change. It is inevitable. The transition requires us to reconsider our entire approach within the energy sector. We also cannot achieve the target of limiting global warming to below 2%, 2 degrees Celsius rather, in terms of the Paris Agreement if we don't scale up renewable energy supply. New energy technologies provide the opportunity to improve lives, save our planet, and grow our economy. Government must take the lead to encourage and support innovation and new technologies to transition to sustainable solutions. This means taking the transition to the next level, where we jointly create enabling policy frameworks and coordinate across sectors to embrace and institutionalize this transition. To accelerate this process, we need innovation in our business models, in market design, and in models for cooperation. We must create the right conditions and certainty for investment in our transition to sustainable and clean energy, including investment in new technologies, in energy efficiency, in smart grids, and in increasing the capacity of the energy sector. Let's find strategies to accelerate the uptake of renewable energy in the financing and development of new infrastructure. It is often said that business cannot continue as usual, but what does it mean to do things differently to what we did in the past? Apart from enabling policy and securing investment, we also need the right institutional mechanisms to implement this transition. I hope this and other challenges will find expression in the sessions over the next few days. In conclusion, in his State of the Nation address, the Honorable President Cyril Ramaphosa emphasized the focus of change and rebirth, highlighting the importance of growing our economy, rendering sustainable services, being accountable, and serving the country and its people. We believe that this message should be translated to communities at a local level. This provision of sustainable and affordable electricity and energy to all citizens is key to the transformation of and growth in our local economies. Without this important resource, it would be difficult to create new business opportunities, create jobs, enhance education, and improve the quality of life. SALGA is committed to supporting municipalities in finding sustainable ways to meet their social, economic, and financial needs. It cannot do this alone. Government needs to review its commitments and expected role in accordance with Section 156 of the Constitution to support local government in all aspects of their service authority functions. SALGA has acknowledged the important roles needing to be provided in respect of leadership, facilitating discussions, unlocking challenges, and to drive the change to be identified during this energy summit. It is our belief that a fully functional and capable local government is one that is able to ensure effective service delivery and improve the quality of life for the people of the Republic. Without sustainable revenue, innovative business models, and innovative business models that attracts demand and uptake from customers, this will not be feasible. I invite all present to participate in the discussions and debates and to identify actions to make the transition happen. In particular, we need to define the role of local government in this transition and in ensuring smart, clean, secure, sustainable, and competitive energy for the future. The success of this summit depends on us jointly embracing the transition and accelerating the process. With these opening remarks, I welcome you all to the Energy Summit, and thank you very much.
The President of the South African Local Government Association. Another warm round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I would imagine, Councillor Tau, that the Premier of Gauteng was speaking about those challenges which you're saying are stubborn and very difficult. When in his State of the Province address about a week ago or so, Premier Makura announced that he would soon convene a meeting with all local government municipalities in the province. He also announced that he would create a service delivery war room, as he called it, to perhaps talk to us about those issues and more. Let us welcome the person to represent the Premier of Gauteng, MEC Jacob Mamabolo. Let's give him a warm round of applause.